cutting a foot off of the blanket at one end and sewing it on the other. Do you make the blanket longer? Good morning.
Good morning.
It is Sunday, November the 7th.
Yep.
We are the first day of standard time. We are off of our daylight saving time. Unfortunately, the daylight bank apparently lost our savings, and there's really not any extra daylight. So anyway, that's...
But we did go to bed on daylight saving time and woke up on standard time. And so we actually did get the extra hour. I could have used probably about 2 or 3 more, but...
The government, who believes that if you cut a foot off of one side of the blanket and sew it on the other, you've made the blanket bigger. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, so it is time to be up, to be going, and... to
be hacking up a fur ball?
That's what happens when you lick the cat. So it is Sunday morning, time to get ready to go to church.
Yep.
So let's read our thing.
All right.
I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Or not. Page change. Meet me, O Christ, in this stillness of morning. Move me, O Spirit, to quiet my heart. Mend me, O Father, from yesterday's harms. From the discords of yesterday, resurrect my peace.
The discord is back.
From the discouragements of yesterday, resurrect my hope. From the why in the world do the cats feel it necessary to climb on my nightstand of yesterday?
And this morning.
From the weariness of yesterday, resurrect my strength. From the doubts of yesterday, resurrect my faith. From the wounds of yesterday, resurrect my love. Let me enter this new day aware of my need and awake to your grace, O Lord. Amen.
Amen.
You guys are going to tell the heater's back on.
Yes, I kind of
Go
figured
turn
the
it
heater
off.
was on. So the cat, Angie's cat is scared of the heater, apparently. We don't remember this happening in the spring, but in the spring we had just moved and she was scared of everything. So now apparently to escape the heater, she has to come all the way to our end of the house.
Yes. She hasn't been in our bedroom twice since we moved here until the heat started running this week, and now we can't get her out of our bedroom.
This is the other cat's domain.
Yes.
So he's not quite sure. And so yesterday he went and camped out in Angela's room in protest. It was quite funny.
Yes, it was. Yes,
So,
it was.
anyway.
So, well, let's talk about the heater.
Okay.
Let's talk about the cat's response to the heater.
Okay.
There's the cat coming out from under the bed. What we can figure is that one of the noises that the heater makes that the air conditioner doesn't is high-pitched and uncomfortable, most specifically to that cat. Now, we think we can probably hear it, but it doesn't bother us the way it bothers her. And something to kind of wrestle with on that is how it illustrates a little bit of recognizing what goes on with people. Mm. There are things that, in all honesty, aren't going to bother you. You may not even notice them. But somebody else, because of who they are, may notice them more readily. We got one cat doesn't seem to care about the heater that much. The other cat freaks out. There are things, and then you can amplify that up. We got one kid that this bothers and another kid it doesn't, kind of thing.
Well, and with some people, something that doesn't bother you at all could actually be painful to other people.
Yes.
There's some noises that actually, if they're in the right place, send painful, almost like a shockwave down my back. And so I have to avoid those noises behind me. Mm-hmm. And, that same noise can be behind him, and he can not even notice it. But then there are other things that...
What? Hear something? What? No, you're on my good side. But that's
There are other things that I don't even notice that, are troublesome for him. And so it's not even just preferences, it's not even just, sometimes it's actual discomfort even.
sometimes it's just discomfort and it's pain. Yeah.
So yeah, be aware if somebody says that something bothers them, just because it doesn't bother you, have patience with that.
Just because somebody says, well, I've never noticed X, just because it doesn't fit into your experience doesn't mean it's not real. There are folks, and we see this in church, and we'll wrap this around because it's Sunday morning. We see this get said about churches. Well, I've never noticed in church that anybody is this, or church has always been friendly to me. I don't understand how you say going to that church wasn't very friendly. A lot of times we don't notice certain things inside our own loop. And friendliness is a good one. She's in front of the treadmill.
Yeah, and she's after something. I'm going to check on this.
Okay.
Cords. It's all that's there. And
what I
they're
figured.
thick. I don't think she can...
Yeah.
They're really thick cords. I don't think
Well,
she
if
can
she has 9 lives, she's welcome to use 6 of them. But yeah. Well, I the church has always been friendly to me, or I've never noticed that church isn't super welcoming to single parents, or that I've never noticed that our church has a problem with being accessible to people with physical disabilities. Well, okay, but maybe you haven't noticed because you don't have those specific situations and you've not encountered it. I've had, Ann came to me not too long after we got to this church and said, hey, we need to do something with X situation in the ladies' room. And we have fixed it. But there were no, what happened, best guess is at some point they decided to paint the stall doors in the bathroom. And so they took off the hardware to do that and forgot to put the hardware back on. We'll do that when the paint dries. And then the paint, you painted it on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then the paint was dry on Tuesday, but nobody got back around to it. So we just went in and fixed it. But you know how long it would have taken for me to know something was wrong in the ladies' room? Long time, people. I don't go in there. Ladies' room. Don't go.
Well, and for people who are comfortable with each other, okay, so we don't have door locks. Everybody knows to come in and make sure, to double check before opening a door. What about guests?
Yeah.
What about newcomers? I didn't know.
So you just want to be...
So you want to be,
You want to be aware of these things. And so a lot of times we don't notice.
Exactly. Especially in situations where we're in a community that works well together.
Yeah.
We tend to not notice things.
So you want to be careful, be aware. And if somebody raises a question, hey, what about this? Rather than immediately jumping to, well, I've never noticed that, so it must not be real. Stop and say, well, talk to me more about that. Mm-hmm. We see that in a lot of discussions about, the overall etheric concept of church friendliness is a big one in that. Where people, I don't understand how you think our church isn't friendly. Somebody greets you at the door and says they're glad to see you. Yeah, but there's... You want to ask and let folks tell their story about why they think that was a problem, or you want to ask, hey, what about this is problematic, so that you can get to kind of the essence of what's happening. Because a lot of times it is stuff that we don't notice, stuff that we don't see, stuff that we don't hear, and it can result in uncomfortableness. It can result in actual discomfort. It can sometimes even result in pain. And this is why you have to, you have to be careful. You have to be aware. You have to listen to people whose experience is outside of yours, so that you can learn and grow.
Yep.
So, anything else?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay. Also, when you go to church today, make sure you get a bulletin and read it. And don't call the church on Tuesday and ask what's going on, whether or not we're doing something that's in the bulletin that says that we're doing. That hasn't happened in the past couple of weeks to me. But I know it's going to happen to some preacher this week. Or somebody's going to come up and say, well, why didn't you say anything about this? And it's like, it's in the bulletin. We don't print those because we get kickbacks from the paper companies, okay? If your church is still doing a print bulletin, make sure you get one. Make sure you read it. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Bible? Bible. Big, thick Bible.
I did copy my verse yesterday.
Good job.
I haven't done it today yet, but I will.
Yeah, well, we just got done with breakfast.
Oh, but I did a little bit while you were in the shop.
Gotcha.
All right. 1 Peter
Peter
2,
2,
9 and 10.
But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his possession, so that you may proclaim the praises of the one who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. You had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. 1 Peter 2, 9 and 10. And then Psalm.
Psalm. Bonk.
Careful with the thinky juice.
Yeah. I believe we're on Psalm 21.
All right.
For the choir director, a Psalm of David. Lord, the king finds joy in your strength. How greatly he rejoices in your victory. You have given him his heart's desire, and you have not denied the request of his lips. For you meet him with rich blessings. You place a crown of pure gold on his head. He asked you for life, and you gave it to him, length of days forever and ever. His glory is great through your victory. You confer majesty and splendor on him. You give him blessings forever. You cheer him with joy in your presence. For the king relies on the Lord. Through the faithful love of the Most High, he is not shaken. Your hand will capture all your enemies. Your right hand will seize those who hate you. You will make them burn like a fiery furnace when you appear.
Burn, baby, burn.
The Lord will engulf them in his wrath, and fire will devour them. You will wipe their progeny from the earth and their offspring from the human race.
Ooh, progeny. That's
Progeny, yeah.
cool.
Though they intend to harm you and devise a wicked plan, they will not prevail. Instead, you will put them to flight when you ready your bowstrings to shoot at them. Be exalted, Lord, in your strength. We will sing and praise your might. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for your strength and your might. Thank you for the victory that we can celebrate with you, because we know that you are victorious and that nothing can come between us and you. Father, I pray that as we go through the day that we will be aware of others and of their needs and of their both their joys and their struggles, Father, and that we will be able to share in them and bring comfort and strength. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alexa, turn off the ring light.